should show my home screen on Twitter. Yeah, it'll work. So I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that this time. Yeah, so I'm good. Yeah, no, Brad messaged me. He was like, yo, man, I'm doing Jaeger bombs right now. Thanks for doing the AMA. He sent me a picture of his Jaeger bomb.
He's out on a stag do tonight. Right, let's get started then. We've got a few people coming up. So welcome everybody to the CNFT Tools AMA tonight with our guest. It's Tyler from Bitfins. I'm running the show tonight because the team at Tools seem to be all out on the piss tonight in town. I'm at home like a loser, doing nothing, but look, I'm here tonight. So it was going to be an AMA, obviously, but now that I've got keys to the Tools server, I think we'll do an auction. I've got a 10k server to sell. I think so. Highest bidders wins CNF Tools. No, let's get cracking. So those of you who don't know me, I'm MangoBush. I'm on the team at Ratsdown. I look after all the comms, all the communication, all the community engagement there. I've also got a side project with the rats called Onesies with Rats Labs that you might have seen knocking about on Twitter. But I'm delighted to here tonight be with you guys and to be speaking to Tyler, learn about Bitfins. Tyler's really active in the space. You see him in a lot of the Twitter spaces, talking and involve himself as a quality community member. And I mean this sincerely, Tyler, that it's a bit of an inspiration about how you work around and you go and speak and you give to the space, a little bit like Serge from Ugly Boys. So thanks for that, because truly, man, the way that you engage is quite inspiring to me. So I mean that. So do you want to give us a little bit of a spiel about what Bitfins is then for the community?
Yeah, and thanks for the kind intro. Yeah, so anyway, that doesn't know Bitfins, I'm Tyler. I'm the founder. I started the concept back to very end of August. We built all the art and stuff up through September, and then our first mint wasn't until end of October. So we've been around quite a little bit compared to a lot of projects around right now. We're at the point where, people are getting exposed to us every day through whatever, like my Twitter spaces, people sharing out the aquariums they're making or NFTs, whatever. And yeah, essentially the project itself is a dual kind of thing. So not only is it a gallery for all of your NFTs, right now it's all Cardano, but we're looking at cross-chain. We just put in MetaMask, so we could hopefully be having Ethereum for that function in next week. But it's a actual digital aquarium that you'll be able to interact with your fish in. So any fish you get from our project, whether it's season 1, which sold out and it's only at secondary, or the new bokeh vision fish that we have currently minting, you can pop those in and they'll swim around. They each have like unique temperaments, like they'll be docile or hostile. So if you have 2 hostile species, they'll fight. In the future, common rarities can be eaten by carnivore species or sea monsters that will release, and then those will be, essentially sent to an escrow wallet, and you'll get back a ghost or skeleton fish in its place. We'll have XP systems based on how long you're holding. So the longer you hold, the bigger your fish will be in size. And then you'll also have a sort of recognition factor. So if you hold it longer, then your fish will recognize you as its owner. So say 3 months and you're in VR, your fish will swim up to you and you can do certain interaction features. And then, maybe if you just bought your fish yesterday, once we implement that system, then that fish will kind of run away from you because it's scared. It's like, well, who are you? Like, why are you right next to me? Kind of freaking out. So those are kind of like the basic functions right now, but we do have a working beta. And when you go into the beta, you can link your wallet and load all of your NFTs on Cardano right now. There are a couple projects that don't work. We're aware of that, but it's generally projects that don't use standard metadata format. So as long as a project is using standard metadata format, doesn't matter if it's on-chain, IPFS, whatever, you'll be able to pop that into a frame. And even if they're animated like video, like block owls, you can pop that in your aquarium as big as you want as a, decoratory piece alongside our project native decorations that we give you.
Excellent. So what was the inspiration behind this then? So you keen to kind of fish lovers, or are we just kind of looking for that niche where you can kind of put your dev skills together and artistic skills and combine it?
Yeah, so it's kind of both. Through college and stuff, I had aquariums. I had a goldfish aquarium, like the crazy, like, the fat ones you see that are like really big. They have the big bubble head. I've had some beta fish in the past. I had a 60-gallon African cichlid tank at one point in my house in college because I was there for like 2 years. But getting an NFT, I'm 25. I live with my parents right now and just like paying off debt. Like I paid off my car last year, thanks to NFTs and stuff. So it's basically just paying off all my debt before I move out and saving up money hardcore until I get a place. I can't have an aquarium here because it's not going to be my long term place. So when I came into the scene and I was looking at stuff, I saw these different things and the lack of utility back around then in the NFT industry in general, not just Cardano. And so I was like, okay, what can I do that there isn't there? And I had that passion for, aquarium keeping and having pets before. And I had that same segment where I'm like, well, I can't have pets, but maybe something digitally could be cool as like an art piece even. And so that's when it came up to the idea of, let me just toss this idea around. And I sent people some initial 2D pictures of our original fish, which you can still see the 2D versions on our website and our rarity charts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sent them around to a couple friends, met Soup and Sando, who was in the Faha 100. And he actually pushed me. He's like, yo, just like DM Fa Dukin the idea. I think he'll like it. So I sent Fa Dukin our white paper, like basically a brief description before I actually put the white paper out of what we're trying to do. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how to like even do funding to get to this point. He's like, bro, just like mint the NFTs. And I'm sure like there will be a market for it, like once you go. And so that's kind of where we got to where we are now and the inspiration for a lot of it.
No, it's cool, man. So you're more of a dev than an artist. So who's in the bit? Who is Bitfins? Is it just you, or is it more of a team? Have you got people? Are you both the artist and developer with that, or who are you reaching out with?
I do a little bit of everything. So we've got quite a few people now. I am the project lead and one of the main art type people, but I do a bit of like 3D modeling. I learned Blender from scratch just for the project, like a few weeks before we minted our first series. Um, I've got a couple people that are specifically modelers. So one guy does like baking our things. So basically, the process for 3D modeling, you make like the square texture map that you usually see for different kinds of things when you pop them in your file folders for games. So he does the baking for a lot of our decorations. He's made some of the decorations for us. And then the other modeler does all of our characters, like the fish, all our pretty like space bud 3D renders and stuff we do is the other guy. We have two game devs now. One's in the UK, one is based in India, and then we just hired on 8 aquariums from the community actually as our new animator to make some more fluid and dynamic animation. So we've got quite a few people at this point, and then we've got David. You'll probably see him in the community as like D James. He's our marketing intern, so he's actually getting like college credit while working with the project, which is pretty cool.
So just listen to that. This is the reason why I absolutely love the CNFT space, because look how we're pulling resources from right across the globe. You've got people from the UK, from India, across the States. And I can't think of anything more exciting that I'm involved with or I've ever been involved with this, because it's as much as it's about the art and the we're in here to make money, of course, and as investment. The actual way that this community enriches my life through jumping on a call, speaking to you guys, speaking to people from whether it's the Philippines, from the States, from absolutely literally anywhere. It's really inspiring, I think. And have you had anyone kind of inspire you in terms of the fish, or give you ideas about some of the creatures that you should be increasing adding in that you may not have known about?
Yeah, people will toss us pictures of like crazy fish you see in the ocean all the time, so I'll pull inspiration from those. The big thing for our fish is like pretty much if you look at all of them, none of them are real fish. The only ones that we have made that look essentially identical to real species are unreleased, and those will be going out with um this collaboration we're doing with an aquarium YouTuber. So we went to an aquarium convention back in February. It's like one of the biggest in the country. We went with our business partner, Brett Raymer. So anybody that doesn't know Brett Raymer, he is the guy that did the show Tanked on Animal Planet. He's one of the two brothers that did it. And so they have a huge following. They're very renowned in the aquarium scene. So he basically got me and David out to use their booth for free at the convention, and I just covered mine and David's flight and hotels and stuff out there. So we went out there and networked with pretty much anybody to know in the real world aquarium scene and got with a bunch of the big YouTubers. So one of the guys, he's coming up on 100K subscribers. he has two prize fish in his community, and he actually has them named. And so his community knows him by name. We've teased images to his community. They're super into it. A lot of them don't even have NFTs, but they're like, bro, I would love for this to be my first NFT. And so we modeled exact replicas of his fish that were in his aquarium. One is dead, and then one is one that he currently has that you can see in his videos. And we're going to put those out. We're doing them as GLB format, so you can rotate and spin them in there and everything, and then there'll be an actual creature that can swim in the aquarium. So I think inspiration wise for an actual species, I think that's the closest, because we completely modeled the exact individual fish based on his photos and videos he sent us. But as for like just current ones we do, a lot of it's just we'll pull like bits and pieces. Like, we've got the Puffana in our season one. It's kind of a combination of a piranha and a puffer fish, if you look at it. And so when I was designing a lot of those common season one fish, they basically just came from an amalgamation of things. Like our pangafin, our pangafin's a penguin fish hybrid. It's super weird. I think that gives us more of a unique factor too, because if you look at other aquarium stuff on other chains, not only do they not have a working aquarium, even in 2D format, a lot of them copy just real fish. They're like, oh, we just got a clownfish. We just have, the whales, whatever. So we wanted to take a step further and make it more unique. And I think that helps with branding too, because when we go out, we're making merch. If we make plushies for kids, if we have kids getting involved in the project too, they'll be more inclined to look at the different fish. And, we can make our custom fish and give them clownfish textures like we did. And they'll be like, oh, Nemo, but it's not exactly a clownfish or Nemo. And so it gives a little more versatility in what we're doing.
Yeah. The it's quite exciting. The reason I'm quiet there because I'm looking through your white paper as we're talking through that's just been released there. So you're talking about the volatile verification, and you mentioned the MetaMask, which is a hugely exciting development, isn't it, within Cardano, with
Mhm.
NFTs being listed into being able to collect in MetaMask. I don't know a huge deal about it, but do you want to expand on that part of it?
Yeah, so similar to how we have it where you can virtually use any Cardano NFT right now to design your aquarium, the idea would be you link your MetaMask, and then down the road, we're going to have it linked to where you can have multiple chains. So right now, it's just going to be Ethereum. If you have Ethereum NFTs, but you got your Angel Baby Hit Squad or something, you could essentially verify your Ethereum wallet in MetaMask. We're actually hoping to have this live next week. We've got it pretty much fleshed out. We just wanted to do some bug tests before we put it live. But if people go in the beta right now, they can link their MetaMask. They just can't use anything from it yet. So what it would do is you could load your Angel Baby into a frame and do different things like that. I think it'll help us with expanding not only into big partnerships that we can do with other projects and other chains, but it can also be kind of a way to bridge the chains more. Because if you even look at other projects and other chains, I don't see too much cross chain compatibility with projects outside of the metaverse settings, like the Decentraland or something crazy like that. Even the play to earn games on like Binance, they're usually pretty native to the chain outside of like one or two offside chains. And so the big thing for us is we want to try to get to as many wallets as possible across all chains. So in the future, I own Tezos NFTs. I want to get to Tezos. If there's options for it, get to Vive. I want to get to pretty much virtually everything we can reach to, and then put out a web that basically secures everything anybody could own.
This is what we need. There's guys like you and projects like you that think in cross chain within this space, because it gets very primal, doesn't it? About people belonging to certain chains, but the reality is that if we can get some, this is coin, everybody uses this term, but interoperability between those chains and NFTs and utility between chains, that's where we're going to see a lot of adoption, a lot of growth within NFTs. So hats off to you for doing that as well.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's a bit weird to be tribal. I think the future is interoperable. I think it's very naive to think everybody's going to be operating on one chain. As much as we preach decentralization as being on one chain, centralized, I would argue it would be. Even as much as we love Cardano, there is use case outside on other chains that we could port in that are viable. So I think looking at what we can do to benefit between relationships between the different chains and getting rid of some of that tribalism definitely helps. And even if we don't get past that, at least I can bring use to people from other chains and they can see value in their stuff outside of where they're currently sitting.
Yeah, if we don't move towards interoperability, then it's going to seriously limit the what this what crypto can do. Because if you imagine it, like from a finance point of view, if I'm in a bank here in the UK and you're a bank in the States, totally different, and I can't send my money to you and my transactions to you and back and forth, it's pointless. It's going to get to a certain point where people go, well, there's not much use case here other than a store of value. But we need to be able to interact with each other. So I'm certainly excited about that. But that's where I think is going to be the yeah, it's that Mexican standoff, I think, between the projects that make it and don't make it. Because as we then link with each other, it's going to be the big projects. It's the ones with the big ideas, with the big utility, with the big communities that are going to survive that.
Right, yeah. And I don't like to talk about it this way because I feel like it comes off arrogant, but there's like just not a lot of projects that fleshed out utility right now. There's a lot of promises of utility, but there's not a lot of working products. And we could have just as easily put out render videos like everybody else and just put out like, hey, we've got this demo up where we can use it, but we're not going to give it to you yet. But literally, as soon as we got wallet verification in the system, we didn't even have animations on the fish. We just had the 3D models, and I think some people remember like they were like gliding in a straight line essentially until they hit out of bounds barriers. Um, we put it out for people to use because we were like, dude, like this is what we're doing. We minted in October. We had a working product within a month of like a very baseline fleshed out thing. And the part now is we didn't even expect to have a full version till end of July with our smart contracts for that eating mechanism of your commons or anything like that. We want to add an achievement system, so if you get certain achievements, you'll get an achievement NFT minted, and then maybe you have a special plaque area. So when you log into like the mainframe area, you can maybe go to like a trophy room, see your plaques, that kind of thing of like, oh, I own like 10 different colors of fish, or I own this top rarity fish. Now I've got a cool plaque for it. We want to do a whole bunch of stuff like that before end of July, but we're super ahead of schedule on where we want to go. Like MetaMask and cross-chain, we didn't expect to have any of that until next year even. And so it's been nice getting it out to people because it definitely helps with bug testing too. Like we've got a suggestion channel in the Discord for features people would like to have, and then we also have kind of like the beta testing bug channel where people can show us like, hey, I'm getting these issues, what can we do? And then we've actually been able to use some of those screenshots and video people have given us to replicate those. Somebody can give us their username. So like say you've got MangoBush, you go in there, you're like, hey, I got this issue with my fish, what's going on? We go in there, we can look at the back end of your account MangoBush from our PlayFab servers, and we can say like, oh, I see, okay, there's like a broken code connection, let's just go fix that. And then it fixes it for anybody that could ever see that thing in the future. So it makes it a lot better on us as on a dev end too, because we can just flush everything out before the full launch. And then once we get to full launch, obviously we'll have continual updates, but then we can start go pitching. We're like, hey, let's go donate a wallet to a children's hospital, get them an aquarium. The kids can play with it in the ER room. Let's go pitch to businesses where businesses can get a business package and have something in their lobby instead of just one of those generic wallpapers. It just gives a little more bit of a brand feel. We can even do custom logos for different brands and stuff. So you go in to, I don't know, a JP Morgan bank if you wanted to, for example. They've got like a 50-inch flat screen. It's an aquarium. You've got a JP Morgan sign in the middle of that aquarium and you got your fish swimming around it. I think that brings a unique ability to what we can do for a lot of people if we really want to expand out in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, you're really communicating this to me here because this is what I love about projects that are pushing the boundaries. Because what you're doing, you're connecting Web3 to Web2, and this is for the big projects out here and the big thinkers in the space. That when you're creating utility, you're creating genuine utility. You're using your platform, your NFT to develop, to push the boundaries, to create utility that's not just about shilling new ideas and getting more ADA from the community. Because there's a lot of things about the term utility that I really don't like because projects just throw utility out there all the time and the community demands it, but it's not real utility. It's just there to get more ADA off people, more hooking in to buy the next product, to buy the next product, next product. What you guys are doing, you're actually developing something that is creating a platform and a bridge from Web3 into Web2 and that further adoption. So your utility is the right kind of utility in my opinion, because I do feel that utility is really damaging that word when it's demanded and when a lot of shit projects are pushing it out, because what it's doing, it's taking away from the art side of things. So there's two sides of things in CNFT as far as I'm concerned: the art and supporting the artists, and then there's the dev side of supporting the devs to push their development side out of there. And when you get the kind of the snakes trying to impersonate either one, That's where it corrupts this space. So what we need is more guys like you that doing what you're doing, talking to the community, educating about the advancements in the dev that you've got, and then also the artists, supporting the artists who are not offering utility and shouldn't be forced to offer utility because they're creatives and they don't need to be weighed down with the burden of thinking, shit, I need to create something else after this cool series that I've just done. Because I think creative brains left to their own creativity will develop some sort of creativity within their own platform. So love what you're doing, and I said the ideas that you're suggesting in terms of that Web 2 link is certainly triggering ideas within my brain just listening to you.
Yeah, thanks. I agree a lot on that. And there's a big part of it too. The traditional world, a lot of people are very aggro against NFTs, especially like the gaming community. And I think what we're doing, it kind of supplies a very good argument for it because I can attack it from a few different angles. So one of them is, NFTs are just JPEGs, they're just links to IPFS, whatever. Whatever your stance on the IPFS and ownership, blah blah blah. Like, I think we all realize there's an importance to branding, and I don't think profile pictures are ever going to go away. But I do think there is a bubble in terms of speculation on every and any project. There are going to be like the big brands that people attach to. Everybody's got their Bored Ape, their Doodle. You come to Cardano, maybe you have like your Chilled Kong, your Space Bud, your Claymates, whatever. All those big brands, I don't see them necessarily popping in a bubble, but there is going to be a bit of a bubble pop in speculation on just any and all upcoming things just because it's a low cost mint and people are just like, yeah, let me just rush in and buy this random thing. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect is for our use case for utility. We've shown a lot of people, especially at the aquarium convention, like traditional people that build aquariums that thought this was dope. Like, we didn't even necessarily bring up blockchain when we first started talking to them. We just had my laptop. We had David's tablet, like his Microsoft Surface that still ran it. Like, we do touchscreen to decorate the aquarium. We were showing people, there was a lot of people with their kids that came around. And I think that's a demographic people don't really look at is the kids right now, any age between like, I don't know, let's just say 8, because that's kind of when you're a little more aware of stuff going on and playing video games. So let's say anywhere from like 8 to 16 years old right now, that's the next generation. And if you go talk to a lot of those kids, they are the ones that are going to be leading a lot of this stuff. And almost all of them love the idea of NFTs and gaming in the digital world. And people very highly underestimate that. A lot of people that are very critical of NFTs now are like 20, 30 plus years old in the traditional world, and they have zero idea of how impactful the generation underneath them that are, about to become adults in the next few years are going to be in leading that kind of thing. And so just looking at demographics and people enjoying that stuff, that's something that is going to be huge. And people that build out their brands now, even if it takes a couple of years, there's going to be a large market share that goes to a lot of these things. Like for us, we're not just staying in blockchain. We're trying to expand outside of blockchain, and we're trying to be the digital aquarium for people. That's our long-term goal. Is like, you think of a digital aquarium, you're coming to Bitfins and you're getting your stuff. And the blockchain and the crypto is secondary. It's just a platform it's on. The third thing is coming from a case of video games, and people are like, oh, well, there's no viable function for blockchain versus traditional video games. I beg to differ because there's an aspect of, you can get funding for your project and somebody has essentially whether you want to argue if it's quote unquote physical or not, you have a physical asset in the digital space that you're owning that represents your early investment into somebody developing a project. And the counterpart of that, as a project developer, if you're an indie game studio, you're getting your early funding in a way that you're not paying out a portion to Steam or GoFundMe or whatever you want to do for these platforms. So you cut out that middleman for funding. We look at servers. If you want to trade your assets, a lot of the servers have to facilitate. You still trade on Steam. CSGO, you can trade your skins and stuff, but you got to go to a third-party website. For us, we don't have to facilitate any of that. People can do whatever they want with their fish, whatever they want with their decorations, like the real world. Your friend wants a goldfish, you've got like 40 of them because your fish just had babies. You can just have your friend come over, give them a bag. They can bring that fish back over to their house. Same concept for us. You just have your wallet. You can go gift your niece and nephew a fish, gift your friend a fish, sell it on, one of the marketplaces on blockchain, or sell it in a private peer-to-peer sale. We don't have to facilitate any of that in the server stuff. And then on top of that, say we want to do a change of our game engine long term. So right now we're on Unity. 2 years down the line, we want to do something crazy and we go to Unreal. We can store a lot of that data on a server that is very highly connected with the blockchain, so it's a little more permanent. You don't have to worry about transferring the data of who owns what thing with a save
Yeah.
stuff. We just verify your wallet, and literally as soon as we put the wallet link in Unreal Engine, you have literally the exact same thing as we had in Unity, but a different graphic setup. So there's a lot of different reasons to do stuff on blockchain that people just don't talk about, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go to local universities. I live in Colorado. I'm trying to talk to them because a lot of them are interested in blockchain. I want to start doing like panels and talk to people about blockchain and the benefits of NFT technology and stuff, and start going out that way, even outside of Bitfins.
Yeah, listening to there about the younger generation, I get that completely. I've just recently, within the last 2 weeks, left my position as an assistant principal in the school. My role was always working with the kids, the aspirational things, and moving on the personal development side, working with teenagers, and obviously this world of NFTs and crypto. Explain it to the teacher colleagues, or explain it to my brothers, or anyone else in real life. Not a chance. But if I'm on the playground talking to the kids, they get it straight away. My 8-year-old daughter gets it straight away because she's playing Roblox. And in Roblox, her digital assets mean everything to her and the friends that she's playing with. The kids that are playing Fortnite or Call of Duty, the skins that they're wearing don't have any real world. Well, they do have real world value because that's their ego flex, and they can also sell their Epic account, which isn't great. But they get it too. The kids that are playing FIFA with the FIFA points, they realize the worth and value in digital assets. So when you explain NFTs to them, and how the system, they get it instantly. Whereas the other day I had my brother coming on. I've not seen him for about 6 months, with different parts of the country comes up, and I'm just telling him about the NFTs and what's going on, and that I'm part of a decentralized autonomous organization that specializes in the fractionalized purchase of non-fungible tokens. Doesn't get it whatsoever. Doesn't get it one bit, but the kids do. And these are the ones that are coming up now, and I'm glad of that, because this is where they get a chance to access a little bit financial, the wealth gets redistributed to the younger people, because they're screwed otherwise. Just seriously, because the property's taken up, the price of everything is so expensive. So it's in their best interest to do that. So I'm really proud that the youngsters are getting that, and I'm grateful that me as an adult I've been able to kind of see this world and getting on it. So I think, speaking to the young people, it's easy. They get it, and they're on warm ears. The adults, they're wrapped in that kind of they think it's obviously it's a Ponzi. It's not safe. It's risky. Those that are in tech already will start to, pointing fingers at the IPFS and the riskiness if that goes away, and that it's, what if everything goes. But the more you stick around, the more you speak to people, the more you learn, the more, I don't know, the more at ease you become with it all, and you see the potential and the power of it.
I
So
think
yeah,
it's yeah, there's a big reason for the age gap too, I think, because I think people our age, I don't know what age you are. I'm 25, like I said. So, I'm kind of like that middle ground between like the older generation and like the younger. And I grew up as a gamer. I was playing video games since I was like 6 years old. I had like my dad's PlayStation 1. I was playing like super old, like Metal Gear Solid and stuff from that age. And so I was always fascinated with different things like that and the dynamics you can do in a digital world versus the physical. And so I think a lot of people around our generation and higher, like millennials upwards, they're focused on the investment aspect of NFTs because that's the biggest proponent. And while that is a large aspect of it, there are a lot of people that just solely like to collect stuff. Like we literally have people in Bitfins right now that are just hoarding tons of fish and decorations because they're like, dude, I just think it's so sick to have like a digital aquarium. I have no qualms if I ever make money on this. I'm viewing it as buying like a real fish, and in X amount of years that fish dies. Like you don't ever expect to make money off of a real aquarium. Um, and I just say real just for that relatable factor. Because for some people, this digital aquarium could be their real aquarium in X amount of years. So when you look at it from that dynamic, there's just a lot of people go from the speculative action of it, because there's not a lot of things you can do with NFTs yet, just because people haven't developed it or they've lacked developing it properly. But as we see more of the utility stuff come out and it becomes more mainstream, I think people will be more in terms of the fact that, oh, this is literally just what I'm doing now, but in the digital world.
yeah, I get that. I think I should move to a digital aquarium, because I've got a tank full of tropical fish, and I just can't get the community right at all. I've got my angel fish and everything. I keep
Yeah,
coming
they're
back.
they're they're super finicky. They'll fight a lot, especially if you get a lot of angels in there.
Yeah, I've only got two, but man, anything that's smaller than it, they just seem to get it. Unless the bits of the shoalfish and they can swim away quickly, they're just destroying it. But I'm a great believer that anything in the physical world can be replicated in in the digital world, without doubt. If it's sometimes it makes you feel uncomfortable with the ideas because there's a sense of nostalgia against those physical things. But we go back to where movies were and where films were. We used to hold on to those CDs and onto DVDs, thinking, no way these are ever going to go digital ever. And
Right.
now I'm giving these things away because I want to be transient. I want them to know that I can move and that I've actually got, because this is the thing with physical assets. When you own those physical assets, they actually own you, because you've got to think about, well, if I want to move, how do I move this stuff? You end up giving it away, and you're really held down and tied down to it. But the more that your assets become digital and you can appreciate them, you can take them anywhere. I can pack up tomorrow and go to South America if I want to, knowing that I've got my kind of things I collect and that are of value right here, and I'm open to this global marketplace. So completely believe that a digital aquarium can become valuable and treasured, because already I'm thinking about screensavers. We all have screensavers. I've even got an aquarium screensaver on my security. I've got a Kindle that I've kind of hacked on the not hacked, but I put kiosk on it. So my security cameras, when it goes dead, it just has an aquarium. It's just a 4K video
Mhm.
from YouTube. It's soulless, but it looks pretty. But then if that was actually something where it's got my fish in that I've bought, I've got some of my friends' fishes that they've lent to me and they've put in there and linked into there. It'd have some more of an emotional connection to just this 3D screen or 2D screen that I've got. And I think it's just people talking to people, communicating to them, and getting that emotional connect between the physical and the digital world.
Right. And the cool thing about our stuff, right, we're putting in where you can have different biomes, different save slots and everything. So you could have, a different vibe for the time. So we're gonna have daylight nighttime settings, for example. We're gonna have it where you can sync it to time zone. So if it's daytime for you, your aquarium will be daytime. When it gets towards twilight, nighttime, the physical lighting of the aquarium will be different based on your time. But you can also segment it by the part where you want to do it actual time cycle. So say like every 20 minutes it shuffles between nighttime, daytime. You could do something like that too. You make it more personalized, and then you get down to the actual design. It would be almost virtually impossible for two people to even make the same aquarium. I mean, it's like the traditional world. I mean, two people could make the same aquarium, right? They have the different pebbles, they have the different things, the same plants. They could identically
Right.
replicate
Yeah,
somebody
point. Yeah.
else's, but when you own the digital stuff, it makes it a lot more difficult, because then you're going to have your personal taste of your other NFTs that aren't project related, where you're like, oh, I want to put my Purdy cat in there. I want to put in, my DGen crypto club in there, just as like a representation of yourself. And there's so many different factors in it that it would be really hard to do an exact copy of somebody else's, even if you want to. And I think that could be like a thing in the future, even like we might, this is speculating, but there might be people in the future that do like speed builds of our aquariums, and it's like a tutorial. It's like, dude, here's my crazy gargantuan Bitfins aquarium, like what people do with like Minecraft speed builds and stuff. Like
Hmm.
there's endless options for what you want to do with our stuff. You can even use it as like a practice terraforming for your traditional aquarium. You're like, oh, I want to figure out where I want to put grass and plants and rocks. How would this look? Let me do it in the digital one, so I'm not wasting resources on my traditional one. So even if you're not doing it to collect, you could use it as like a practice arena for different things. And a lot of people, I think, will find value in those different degrees.
Yeah, I definitely need to practice a little bit more before introducing any more fish into my real life one. No, I just think it's I can see it working just in the workplace. So even if you got your real life aquarium at home, I've always thought about, oh, it'd be nice to have a couple of fish on my desk at work, but it's just not realistically. I'm not there at the weekends and things. But then having something there, could have my fish floating around and just having something to, I don't know, talk to people about or draw questions in from people as they come in and out. It's pretty cool. Um,
Right.
just want to reach out to the community that are listening now. If any of you want me to unmic, or you want to ask a question to Tyler, just jump into the NFT chat on the server, and just say I want to speak, and I'll unmute you, and you can ask some questions away.
And then while they're doing that, I'll pull up a screen share. I'll screen share like some of the stuff we're building right now, so we have a physical thing people can see.
Come on.
Because a lot of people don't actually know we have a physical thing, like I said. Um, so I got. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, you just click on the watch stream. So if you're looking at the chat now, you'll see watch stream, and then you'll see the screen. Let's have a look. Yeah, I can see it. You got your Google browser on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. So this is our website right now. It's aquarium.bitfins.io. We've got like a special load-in screen when you hop in. Eventually, we're gonna have a native desktop app that you can basically do and download. Long term, we want to do mobile and stuff too. But basically, once you get in here, we're going to be in a load-in area. My frames might drop a little bit because screen share in Discord is usually not entirely
Yeah, it's not
great.
great,
So
is it? It really slows down, doesn't it?
yeah, but usually we have it pretty optimized, at least for my system. I've got a pretty good system. But basically, you can come in here. You can, there's a setup. We have it locked in, so you know where to go. Like basically, these
Look
are
at that.
blocked off till you log in. You can look out here. You can see some of our new fish, some of our old fish swimming around, just in the loading area. So if you want to check out even the new fish before you mint, you can see some of them over there. But let's say I'm going to log into mine. I'm going to go in here and log into mine, and then this will already have your wallets linked every time you come in. If you're making a new account, you just do a username, password, hit register, or you can hit demo. It'll take you to one, but we'll do login for that purpose. These things will open up. You've got a panel here. I'll kind of show you briefly where the MetaMask is. So if you go here, you can see MetaMask link here, or you can link your other wallet. So basically right now, if you're doing a Cardano wallet, you would send ADA to yourself. So you'd send this amount in your same wallet that you're trying to register. You'd send it to your own receiving address.
Mm-hmm.
You paste the transaction ID here and link it, and you'll have it. Like
Yeah.
you see all of my wallets linked here. It'll tell you how many assets from the project versus assets in total. And then if you bought more, you can just refresh. It'll refresh, that kind of thing, and it'll process up here.
Tyler, this is cool as shit.
Yeah. And then if you do, I'll let it run through. I don't know if it'll mess up. If you do the link MetaMask, like I said, it'll pull up your MetaMask here. I don't even have a MetaMask. I just have it just to make sure it works. But yeah, it just pulls up your MetaMask already to link. Right here, you can actually name your aquariums now. So I've got like Fresh AF because there's like a freshwater biome. And I've got the Biodome, which is volcanic. So you go in here. Like I said, these are different save slots. Say if I go to a new one, I want to do a fresh one. You just switch between here for the different biomes. We'll have it public. So we're going to give people customized public links. So maybe like it would be aquarium.bitfins.io/MangoBush aquarium one or something like that. So basically, if you were to want to show your friend, they could get the link and go in without messing with your aquarium environment. They could just like check it out. Or if you're in like a metaverse kind of aspect and they add portability of linking portals, maybe you walk up to an aquarium in your house in Pavia, Cardania, something, and you click on it, you could load into your Bitfins aquarium and some of the stuff. But before we go into like one of them,
Independent of the metaverse and Pavia, though, this is happening already, isn't it? It's just you're ready,
right?
they're ready.
Yeah. So you see like the fish have some dynamic swimming. We're going to make them a little better. These are a couple of the rare assets. You got the neons, the golds and stuff. We've got a very strict box. So they move a little jumpy right here, but you see like these ones are a little more fluid. Basically you can come here, pick your save slot. So I'll do the volcano, just load in. It's going to load in like some random stuff I've already made. I haven't really done much in my volcano environment yet, but I've got over 100 fish. So you can see them all. They kind of like chill. Move around. This is one of our volcano biomes, everything fun like that. If I want to go in here and customize, I'll pull here. You see these are like tiles, so you can swap out each individual tile as a different texture.
How long have you been working on this then? Because I remember the Bitfins being launched, I think it was like October, so when they came out in the little passive. But this now, how long is this taking you to build?
We started actually building and coding the game engine like mid-November.
You guys are grinding. You're grinding hard.
Yeah. Yeah, so like this tile system we actually put out a couple weeks ago. So I could put anything in here. If I want to change it. So one tile gets you multiple versions too. So like you see like it changes. Yeah. And then like say if I want to go back and then rotate it, I can just like rotate it this way, make it a little more fluid. Same with the lava. I can do lava here. Make it a little more yeek, more black, rotate it, that kind of thing. So if I want to make a few lavas, go in here, make that more segmented, do another lava, but this one, maybe we want to do a different version, kind of extends out this way, rotate. We'll segment it here, and you see it's a little more fluid. Once you put it in, you kind of got to toy with it a little bit. Load up here. These are free assets. We'll have a lot more free assets, so you can drag and drop a rock in here, make it as big or small as you want, segment it. These are your NFTs. So these are project assets. So if I want some lava coral in my aquarium, and these actually have a glow aesthetic. I really like how these turned out. You can go in here. One decoration actually lets you use multiple decorations at once. So if you have one coral, you can put hundreds in there. The only thing that's one-to-one is the fish for I mean, that's just obvious reasons, like one to one is a fish. But I place these in, you can see the glow, and then these are my stuff. It's on a 3D plane. You've got all your fish swimming around, you can still see them and everything. And then now I'm going to show you the NFTs. So if we want to do in here a floating, like poster, like a canvas of one of my other NFT projects in my aquarium, it drops frame rates a little bit when we do it. It gets kind of weird, so just bear with me. If we go in here and make this and pump it up a little bit, it's going to glitch a little bit because it's I messed something up earlier when I was in my aquarium, so it's kind of weird. But basically,
So whilst you're doing that, trying to get that to load, these
yeah,
questions just come through. Is do fish have different emotions or different characteristics, like emotions, or do they fight each
they
other?
will, yeah. So they'll be, once you hold them longer, over time, you'll actually be able to do something along the lines of they'll be more happy when they recognize you in there. When they swim up to you, if you've held them a long time, they might look a little more scared if you just hop in, nothing's going
Yeah.
on, or they might be scared if something like a carnivore is chasing them. Different emotions like that. And then, like I said, there's temperaments. So docile, they'll be kind of chill. If you've got two hostile species, they might have a fight cloud animation once in a while, just for a little
Yeah.
more in there. Oh yeah, here I'll load in Entheos so you can kind of see how this works. So this is one of my Entheos, so you can see it work. Pops in. I'm gonna see if I can get a video one to show you guys the videos.
So
Uh,
when's the new mint coming?
so we actually are minting right now for the bokeh vision fish and for the decorations. Decorations are 20 ADA, or you can do a bundle of 100, a bundle of 5 for 100 ADA, and then you've got the um bokeh vision fish or 42 ADA or a 3-pack for 126. We've only got like 20 more 3-packs of the bokeh vision fish though, so after that they'll be individual. um
I'm sold. I love this. It's cool. So with the and I mean that sincerely. That just it's not just about hyping you for the sake of it. I think it's absolutely cool. I think it's if this was my aquarium, so I'm looking at it now. I've only got a pack of 2 or 3 fish. Is that all I have in my aquarium then?
yes,
Yeah.
so you'd have to collect however many fish you want. Well, different aquarium sizes. This would be a small aquarium for comparison.
Yeah.
We'll have medium and large ones as well, so like all your fish won't be as cramped. We're gonna have larger creatures like sea monsters. um we kind of teased. We have this species called the Oka, who are our Cory token creators. They're like this fish people that have been around for a while. And so you'll have those, but those will kind of be like a combination of things. So they'll be like, if you have multiple of those species will be around. They're kind of like sea shepherds. I don't know if you've seen the Disney movie Luca. It's kind of the
Hmm.
similar concept to how they were, but they're also going to be a 3-in-1 kind of thing. So as many as you have, there'll be creatures in the aquarium. When you go to a metaverse that we partner with, there'll be your metaverse avatar that you can use, and then we're going to try to get like dynamic avatar pictures, so you'll have a profile picture, a metaverse avatar, and a creature in an aquarium all in one asset.
Nice.
I'm trying to see.
So you're going to be continuously. I assume you're going to be continuously minting assets over the over the months and years because as new ideas comes out, the new fishes to collect, and there are certain
Right,
lockdown rarities then of these. Not rarities. There's a finite amount of fish, I'd imagine, so that creates the rarity.
each collection, yeah, so each collection is something entirely new, but like as you see here, yeah, this is a deep vision, this is a entheos, this one's like animated. So yeah, these are like two of the things I pulled from my wallet. But yeah, it'll be essentially um dynamic to where we come out with a new species, we'll come up with that. There's going to be
Mm.
certain, like our season one doesn't have like the goldfish, like these angelfish or anything up here, right? So it doesn't have that glow or the gold. We don't have neons in season one, but the season one has the utility where they can be eaten, and they'll have the dynamic like XP systems attached to them with like customizing them and um, certain things like that. So each series will have different unique features from other ones that would make you want to collect each. And then obviously like aesthetics is like which fish do you want? It's the same thing as like going to PetSmart or like a fish, like breeder. It's like I want a cichlid tank, I want an angelfish tank. So you'd be collecting based on those as well. So everybody will have their personal preference too.
Oh man, this is going to cost me a fortune. Jesus. And I guess because even like with the common fish that were released with season one, they're going to be rare in time because they're not going to be released again, are they? So as this project
Right.
grows and you develop it and push it more and get it into that Web 2 world, There's going to be, it creates demand for those fish because even if there's 1,000 of them, that they were the only ever the thousand first, they were only that 1,000 that were ever released of that.
Right. And some people are going to hoard like, 50, 100, even 10, like, even 10 for like a certain amount of people. It's a lot. So like this is our freshwater biome, so you can see a little more. So it'll have like some rocks, some like broken logs, some stuff like that. It's a little laggy first loading in. But yeah, so it'll be, everybody collects for like, obviously you see these are all my fish. So like I own all 100 of these and I bought them all on secondary. So as we get more, people in both in and out of crypto, then obviously there's less of a supply for each person as more people collect more. Because there will be some people probably that will just hoard fish and then never sell just because they want like a baller aquarium. One of the people in our community, I don't know if you've seen him in spaces. His name's Genki. He always jokes he's gonna have like a Deuce Bigelow tank, just like all the goldfish, all the big baller like exotics and stuff. So yeah, I mean, people are going to collect for whatever, and the supplies obviously will be down. So we don't feel like we're going to oversaturate doing new series because each new series will be new fish, there'll be new features, there'll be new reasons to collect each one. Even decorations, you'll have different decorations themed differently from previous ones. So there'll always be something new and not re-released. And then even if you've got like like prime example, if you've got like multiple of the same fish, you've got just two of them in the aquarium right here. And then each one will have a dynamic animation. So they'll be a little more separated, but you could have 5 of the same fish and they'll all swim around and animate. It's not like, profile picture, you've got 5 profile pictures, but you can only use one at a time.
Yeah. And that's where the characteristics and the emotions of the fish will become important because just like in a real life aquarium, if you've got these little shoalfish that go around, they act like shoalfish and they'll follow each other.
Right.
And you've got sharks, they're more on their own, they're more predatory. You've got the sucker fish on the bottom that do their own thing. So with different emotions for each fish, that creates the appeal to have more than one, just like it does in real life.
Right. Yeah, and then like obviously we could do stuff you can't do in traditional. Like this is a ghost. We're gonna change shaders. So, but basically, if your fish in the season 1 would be eaten, it would turn into a ghost or a skeleton like this, and they would be swimming around your aquarium.
Yeah.
So even though your fish can't die necessarily, they can be eaten, and you can revert them back to their living form, but they can be eaten. Like the commons can be eaten. So there's like an inherent uniqueness to commons even. So we try to do our rarity charts. Like the brighter stuff is more common. You can see the nighttime mode too, where the neons kind of pop up a little bit more. This is turning into night. But the commons will have unique inherent traits from exotics even that might make them more valuable to some people to collect as well. So
cool. So have you been? Are you thinking about any collaborations? Have you been approached by collaborations? Is that something that you're thinking?
yeah, we have quite a few decent ones on the back end right now. The main ones we've announced are Cardania and Cardolphins. Cardania, we're going to do some special edition stuff with them and give them our Series 1 fish for their worlds to use to some extent. We'll get more details as that stuff comes out. And then Cardolphins, we're actually going to be doing a very low cost mint for holders of Bitfins and Cardolphins. And basically, we were thinking like maybe 10 8 or less, and you could get a dolphin that would be able to swim in the aquarium, and it would be modeled like as an in between of like our art style and their art style. But when we do the mint, it'll be a bunch of unique ones. So it's not just like one thing of a dolphin. Like you could have a gold dolphin, you could have a robo dolphin, you could have like a traditional dolphin. Like you'll have a lot of different options for that. But we have a lot of collaborations coming on the back end that I think people will like. I think one of the bigger ones we should be announcing next week, as long as they get stuff fleshed out, I think people will be excited about. So
yeah, I can see the potential for collaborations all over because even with the um the rocks, what the not the fish, what the items called, the assets.
mhm,
Um, you could have little statues of anything in there, couldn't you? Little grits. You
right,
can imagine seeing little yummies in there or whatever, even if they're like
right.
statue form. Um, that'd be really cool. Or little rats.
Yeah, I mean, we could do virtually anything that we view as viable with anybody.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it fun is we set it up to where we could go literally any direction, and we can always go back and do another direction at the same time, and then keep expanding outwards, like in all directions. So
So this is your aquarium, right?
Yeah, this is my aquarium. I haven't designed anything since the new update. I actually reset it because I want to do a fresh design. But obviously, once you do it, you can put whatever you want. I put all the grass tile in, so it's all grass and stuff. But you look out, you see like you've got a bit more of a biome in the background. It feels a little more at home. We'll have fish out in the distance at some point too. Maybe you got like a sea monster out here creeping in the depths outside of your aquarium. So your fish get out of their zone, then they might get chomped or something, like some unique stuff like that to give it a little more personality in the background even too. But where a lot of the graphics right now we have to constrict, even so, like this isn't even as high graphics as we want outside of like as native. um if we did a launcher from our desktop, right, we could do higher quality graphics because you don't have to download them all from a server. But right now we have to download from a server, so we have to compress a lot of the textures. But once we do it, we're going to get super high end. We're already looking at ray trace graphics. So if anybody that doesn't know ray tracing, it's like the super realistic like lighting effects where you can bounce off of rocks and it's like shiny. It's like those realistic Minecraft renders that people do. That's all ray tracing and
Yeah.
stuff. So at some point, we want to add the ability for that too for high end systems, so people can make it look a lot more lifelike as well.
So you touched on this earlier before, but for those that just recently joined us, so where could we point this to? So in our real life thing, so obviously our flat screens are screensavers, but give us some examples of where this what we're looking at now could be pointed in our everyday world.
Yeah. So outside of your home and just doing it for a hobby, we're looking at this would be fun for like a children's hospital, right? You've got a lot of kids in the ER. Maybe they're there for a couple hours.
Hmm.
We do have a hard reset button, so you could reload it and it resets and deletes all the assets. But like a kid could be there. We could donate a wallet, get them set up with their flat screen in there. And you could have kids playing with like an Xbox controller, designing an aquarium and watching the fish while they're just hanging out waiting to go to the doctor. We could do the same thing with businesses. We could do business packages of certain bundles where we could sell a bundle of fish and decorations. If the business needs it, we can help curate and design it for them, and they could just have it as like a live art piece in their lobby or in their waiting room area. We could do, I'm sure you guys have been in like the hole in the wall kind of like Asian restaurants and stuff like that that do it a lot, where they have the aquariums, but their fish all die and it looks kind of lonely and they just have like the water running. It's like one fish. So we could
Like
pitch to them and
green
just
water.
be
They're
like,
like, I'm eating in this place, and they can't even the tank water's green.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. So instead of having to pay to get that upkeep for the aquarium, you could just do the same cost to do a digital one and you never have to do upkeep besides decorating.
well,
So,
these are assets as well, because just thinking, for the education world that I've come from, when we've done like charity donations and we've got like the little thing, typical old school board on the wall where you're ticking off your milestones in terms of what you earned. This could be something similar where you've got that on the wall and it's an empty tank, and you're putting the address out to your community, your parents, thinking, look, we've got a target of money that we want to host, want to hit.
right,
Please donate some fish, and then you can see those fish starting to come in and attract. And obviously, you can sell these fish; they're an asset. Um, it's just a
right.
little bit fun way of doing that, and I can see this working in those like hospital settings where if it's like a children's ward where you can just think, right, I'm gonna donate a fish, and if there's some sort of alert that lets them know that you got a new fish from someone from somewhere across the world, just donate that. It's a
Yeah.
good concept.
I don't want to call it a play to earn, but I mean, in essence, like how some people like to do, you could essentially call it a quote unquote, play to earn in the sense that like we're going to try to connect we took some feedback. We were originally going to keep the XP lock for the fish and they'd reset if you switch wallets, but we want to have it where if you're logging in daily, you get an XP bonus. So like you hit the max peak for your fish sooner than later. So ideally, what we could do that's a quote unquote play to earn aspect is you could have a larger value fish because you don't have to interact with it as much to get that full fish, the full feature for customization, the full size. So people could resell their stuff based on this fish had this amount of XP. So now it's inherently more valuable because it's no longer an adolescent, it's a larger fish. And then in the same degree, if you've got a carnivore and say we've only got 5 versions of a carnivore in the market, you're essentially the monopoly for the ghost and skeleton fish people have to run through. So if people want ghost or skeleton fish, they might have to buy it off of you to get that ghost and skeleton fish because they can't get that carnivore because you're holding it and you're not selling. So there's a lot of unique elements to it that provide for community trading and making deals and figuring stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got our utility Corey token, where if you've got a bunch of tokens, you'll be able to submit those in some ADA to get one of one colorations of your uncommon fish, and then you'll be able to breed your uncommon. So if you've got an uncommon hawkfin and an uncommon jawbreaker, you'll be able to get a hybrid species of both of those. So you can then decide, do I want to sell my Corey tokens, or do I want to get one of the only hybrid species of this thing so far and then sell that? And so it brings in a lot more elements of how people want to play their thing if they're trying to make it more of a value proposition.
I love it. Just listening and watching. I'm getting a bit hypnotized by the fish in the tank here. It's pretty cool. That little gold one. So what's that gold one underneath the stripy blue one right in the center of our screen now?
So that's a gold angelfish. That's actually in the bokeh drop. We have some of those left. And like I said, they're shiny and they have a gold aura to them. And then obviously, like I said, there's the black one right there. That's a ghost. You've got like this neon one and this neon one. They pop a little more at nighttime. So you see they give a little more vibrance to the tank. Yeah, like different fish will have different stuff. Like if you have a exotic in season 1, we're going to add white particle trails. So when it's swimming, it's got like a little bit of a white trail glow behind it. And then your commons with the XP system, like I said before, the longer you hold your common and go, you'll unlock a customization where you can put a green particle trail on your common green hawkfin to swim around. So that's where a lot of that, holding actually benefits you for more features you unlock in the aquarium too.
There's so much that can come from this as well. You must have, you can't be short of creativity, like even like Halloween or those seasons or Christmas where you can just then put a template for a tank in the background. Then to have your tanks, fish coming around. It's so cool.
Right.
Like
Yeah. 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 We can just pop in assets and save it, and you could have like a Christmas tree in the background of your thing if you really wanted.
So, guys, if you want to ask a question, just jump in the NFT chat of the CNFT, and you can unmic either you can put your question in there, either, and I'll ask it to Tyler, or we're happy to unmic you as well, so that you can jump in and ask something. And also, Tyler, I'm happy to do the same thing on the Rats forum as well, just to come and speak and show people, because I think something like this needs to be shared and people understand it, because when there's such rich utility and development behind it, the only way you can people can grasp it and understand it is by seeing it in action. And what we're doing now, I think, is really powerful.
Yeah, I'd be interested, man. Once we get there, yeah, if you ever want to organize that, I'm
I
cool
can't
with
promise
whatever.
the DAO are going to buy into it, because that's
Yeah,
not. I just think just have a community to speak to and just say, look, we're all friends in this community. Come and look at this.
right.
It's cool shit. Um, I think
Yeah,
having
I mean, I'm always cool to talk to whoever about whatever. I mean, like you said, I'm in Twitter spaces all the time. Like, I just like sharing the project with people. I do giveaways a lot in spaces. Even just be like, yo, here's a fish or two, some decorations. Just go like check out what we're building. And usually, a lot of people like get super excited about stuff like that. So it's just like showing them we have a working model. I think that's been really fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, I could imagine the DAO wallet just being in here, and just our assets being around it, was buying some fish in between, just as a
Yeah, you could use it as a gallery. Yeah.
totally. Right, let's see if anyone's asking any questions. No, I think everyone's mesmerized.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, I try to be pretty thorough with my responses too, so maybe we just answer some of the questions preemptively. So that's pretty. That usually happens sometimes. Somebody's
Well,
like, "Oh, I was going to ask this, but you already explained it."
that's it. I think we've just been chatting through, and I think I've been a layman to this project. As I said, I've seen you minting, and I've known about Bitfins, but I've not seen actually the application now that you've shown us here. So that's been really cool. So I've been asking
Yeah.
probably the questions that's been on the lips of most of the community members. But are you sticking around after this to jump into the chat just to answer a few questions in the server if people want to?
Yeah, I can answer a few. The alternative is I might just hop into like a Twitter space if anybody wants to follow me to like a Twitter space if they see the account on there too. So, but yeah, if anybody has the questions, they can always ping me, and then some stuff like that if they'd like. That's all cool.
Right, cool. Well, I'm on here till 9 today because I've just dropped off. I've got to go cook some steaks now. But Tyler, it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this talk, and you kind of giving this insight and talking to Bitfins and the depth behind it. And I think what you're doing is just it's mesmerizing. Literally is. I think the possibilities that you've got with this, and I think it is it's going to be with its challenges, but you've got something here that I think will really connect to the real world. And that's what I call Web 2, is the Web 2 is the real world, normal businesses, people,
Yeah.
and functions. And I think you're going to have so many exciting conversations where people have just have that light bulb moment when you explain where this comes. And with greater adoption of cryptocurrencies with Cardano, and you going across networks to do this, I think you're going to have loads of success with this. I think you're a seriously impressive dude.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's just all getting it going. I think once we have the MetaMask in, that'll change a lot of stuff too. Because like, I'm not trying to sound overly confident. I'm not aware of too many, if any, that have provided cross-chain utility, even in other chains, let alone Cardano.
Yeah, so
So that
let me get this
that's
straight.
that
I've
section.
understood. Sorry to cut you off there. So
Yeah.
I could have on buy my fish on Ethereum. I can buy them on Cardano, and I can host
Well,
them.
so like right now we wouldn't have it where you could buy fish on Ethereum, no. But
Well,
you'd have to kind of Cardano buy fish, yeah.
yeah, but is that what you're planning then in the future? Have I understood that correctly? That you can buy from different networks and host them in this tank together.
You could if we do limited drops on other chains. More so, you could expand your decoration gallery with other chains. So your pre-existing Ethereum NFTs, like your Angel Baby Hit Squad,
Got you.
you could
Got you.
pop in the aquarium, for example. Yeah,
See what you mean. So it's the NFTs that you're holding in your MetaMask. That's what you can import into that. So yeah, got you.
right. Yeah,
I'm reading into you
yeah,
mentioning Angel Baby Hit Squad a few times as well tonight.
yeah. I mean, like that's just like one of the main ones. I mean, like I think that's the most that people might connect to from Cardano on there. So I think that'll kind of do it too because I really like Fettuccine and what they're doing. I've talked to them a couple times, and them trying to do cross chain as well is like respectable for what they're trying to do. So I think there's like a lot of crossover between the kind of the concepts we're trying to implement, like just bringing that interoperability and larger stuff.
It's impressive. Impressive. Okay, man. So I'll check if there's any other questions. If not, I think we've had a good hour there. It's been enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, no worries.
So it's difficult to read and have a conversation at the same time. You sound like you're not listening all the time. So I'm not much of a multitasker. So if I'm like little, yeah, okay, that's because I'm reading through the chat. See if
Yeah,
there's
all
anyone
good, man. No
else
worries.
having a conversation. Right, we're good. So doesn't seem there's any questions there. As I said, we've had quite a thorough chat through it, but just want to thank you, Tyler, for your time there, and thank you for giving me this insight into Bitfins. And for sure, I'll be picking some up for sure.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us on. And if anybody ever has questions or they're kind of confused how stuff goes, we do have a YouTube that walks through new updates, so you can always reference that. It's if you just search Bitfins, it should show up right away. And then obviously, our Twitter and all that's all Bitfins, just BITFINS, and then Discord is discord.gg/Bitfins. So made it pretty clean for everybody to kind of find us on wherever.
We like clean.
Yeah.
Right, awesome, man. Enjoy your Saturday.
All right, you as well. Thanks everybody
Right.
for chilling. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fun. Take care, everyone. Bye.